Hello, Sarah. Thank you for joining me today.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited to have you on the Realtor Spotlight to hear a little bit more about you and your business.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me.
I know that you're a very successful realtor, and I also know are involved in training some athletes. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
yeah, that's right.
Where our worlds kind of collide there.
Yeah, the whole football world. Yeah, that was,
Yeah,
I think, how we met was talking about football.
that's right. That's right. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, I love it. The Pilates and football thing is sort of a
It
niche.
is. It is, but it's something that's very important, and a lot. I'm sure that all the players that you work with appreciate it because it has a serious value to what we do or what I used to do. So
Yeah, they
yeah,
do. And it's
I don't
fun.
know. I don't know if it'll help me now with the mortgage world, but
Oh yeah, absolutely. Come on over. We'll do it.
so can you tell me a little bit about how you got into real estate?
Yeah, I mean, I'm announcing, I said it to you before, I've got a boo-boo on my forehead. I had a little thing taken off, so I don't want everybody to be staring at this bandage in the middle of my head. But
Barely see it.
yeah. So I grew up with a mother who was a realtor and sort of it was always in the back of my mind, but I had a whole bunch of different careers. I was a dancer, I had the Pilates business and
Hmm.
still have the Pilates business. Um, then I got divorced and about 5 years ago, almost 6 years ago, and realized I needed something that would help me make more money. My kids were grown or almost grown, and it seemed like the right time to get into it because when they were younger, I just couldn't fathom the number of hours that it takes to be in real estate. So everything, the world's all kind of came together, and I'm thrilled.
That's awesome. As a parent with a newborn, I can relate to. Yeah, there's not enough hours in the day. You
Oh
know.
yeah. Oh yeah. You're getting calls all weekend long, all night. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
Uh, so now that you're in this successful career and you're doing really well, what is one of the things or what is your most favorite thing about being a real estate agent?
It's going to sound goofy, but it's the same thing I liked when I was a kid. I love going in and looking at different houses. I'm so nosy.
Yeah,
You buy houses and you're like, ooh, I wonder what it's like inside. And then of course I come home and I want to like redecorate my house or move. But or I appreciate where I live either way. But
yeah.
that I think
I,
I love that.
I think we all can relate to the being nosy and wanting scrolling through houses online or hopping into that open house that you happen to see at a house that looks interesting.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. And
that's
even
definitely
when it's
something
a
I can
bad
relate to.
house. I'm
What's that?
sorry. Even when it's a house that you kind of go in, you're like, whoo, that's fun too. I mean, there's
Yeah,
different
yeah,
levels of fun.
yeah. So knowing that there's a lot of real estate agents out there, what is something that makes you different or that's different about you in the real estate world?
You know, I think I would answer that more with what people perceive realtors to be. And I think there is a perception out there that a lot of realtors are sharks and aggressive and just they are going to be behind you and knocking people out of the way to make this transaction action work. And that is not me. I am calm. I like to have everybody kind of be in an environment that's pleasant. I mean, there's enough anxiety that goes with buying real estate, and
Yeah.
I want to be a contributing factor to that.
Hmm.
I can still be your advocate, and I am your advocate, but I can do it in a way that makes other people enjoy working with me, both my clients and lenders and
Yeah.
other people in the transaction and the other side, and still get all of your goals met without being that like nasty, aggressive person that every once in a while you do meet. So
Yeah. Yeah. You'd like to bring a piece with you.
yeah, a calm and just we all have the same goals.
Mhm.
It's just how you approach it. I can still get you everything that you want. It's just I can do it in a way that is a little bit more pleasant to be
Yeah.
around. And then everybody wants to work with us. And you get more, what is it? Um, you get more when you're just nice to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
It's definitely an emotional process when you're sitting on that side of the contract versus where we sit when, when we can do this all day long, multiple times over and over again. But when it's your house and you're the one that's buying, it
Yeah.
becomes very emotional.
And you know what? I think there's an empathy too, that I tend to be very empathetic, and I get it. And I think it's almost like therapy for people.
Absolutely.
I have my clients calling and they're talking to me and stressed about something, and we just kind of go through it like it's a therapy session. But
They just want to get it out,
yeah, yeah. And then it happens even on the other side with the other agent. It's you have people upset, and you find that I have an empathy for that on all sides of the transaction. So I think
Yeah.
that's helpful.
Yeah. So if you were coming into a stadium and this was your big entrance, what song would be playing? What is your entrance song or your theme song?
God. So I've had so many, this is so cheesy. Everybody will say the same thing, but when I got divorced, I had a big party for my birthday was around the same time. And my friends all played "I'm Coming Out" by Diana Ross. Everyone says it's their song, right? And I would say it is in a lot of ways because I'm constantly reinventing myself. And I've done it probably 3 or 4 times throughout my life. And I've had some, as we all have, I've had some rough patches, and persevering, I think, is probably the reason why that would be my song. Besides, I'm a dancer and it's a great dance.
Yeah. That's awesome. The Notorious B.I.G. in me, takes it to "Mo Money, Mo Problems," but I love the original as well.
It's so funny. I just listened to that the other day and I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah. Good.
We will definitely have to cue that up.
No, that's okay. I couldn't think of it. That's pretty cheesy, but yeah, well.
No, it's a great one. So I know you work with a lot of different types of clients, whether it's a first-time buyer or repeat buyer, move-up buyer, luxury. For the first-time home buyers that are listening, what's the one piece of advice that you would give them as they start their journey into home ownership?
Well, can I give you 2 answers?
Sure. Yeah, as many as you want.
One is talk to a lender first. And because I think you're going to spin your wheels if you're looking at a property that you can't afford, that it's not realistic, and you're going out and then you've already raised the bar. So now you're thinking, well, I'm looking at $1 million properties, but I can really only afford $700,000 properties, but you're still thinking of those $1 million properties. So talk to a lender before you start the process, see what's realistic. And then the other part would be to sit down with your realtor and have them walk through a contract so that you know exactly what the process is. Educate yourself before it gets emotional, before you're racing to try to get your contract in and written, and you can really hear and listen and understand what the process is about, what it is you're going to be signing. So.
And what you're negotiating on, and having an understanding of that before that's a great piece of advice there. Because when they find that house, it seems like the clock speeds up and everything starts to move quickly, and you want to make sure that they don't get lost in the shuffle or not understand something that they have to make a decision on quickly.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had situations where it hasn't been with my clients, thank goodness, because I really do try to educate them. But on the other side, where something has happened, like I told a story about a wood destroying insect inspection, and we had the inspection. It was in the contract. The other side approved it. We get there were termites and there was damage. And the other side was like, well, we're not doing anything. I'm like, oh, yeah, you are, because it's in the contract. And the other side had a cow because they didn't understand
that they agreed to that.
They actually had to do it and that they agreed to it. Yeah. So,
yeah. Thankfully, that's why we have the contract.
Yeah. That's why you got to be educated before you sign stuff so that you know exactly what you're signing.
Um, so, now that you're this far into your real estate career, looking back, is there any advice you would give to a new agent that's just getting started or just, thinking about getting into real estate and getting their license?
Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky because McInerney has a wonderful program where they have a mentor that you work with for a year. And Susan Sarcone was mine. We work a lot together now, and she's phenomenal. She's also a neighbor, and she's a Pilates client. Like we've meshed. But having a great mentor that is a generous and open-spirited mentor that can really guide you and educate you is one, getting that experience. And then two is do everything. You're not above anything. Do everything. Work open houses for rentals. If somebody wants you to go show clients property, go do it. Don't expect everybody. I've had people say, well, am I going to be compensated? Oh my gosh, just do it. It's
Yes,
education.
it's
Go
the
out.
experience.
Yeah. And don't think you can do it part-time because you can't. You got to be all in. So
Yeah, that's great advice. Yeah, it's tough to, especially in my world as well, it's tough to say, well, I'm only going to do this many hours or this, only going to be part-time and have something else going on because it's, if you really want to give that top level service, you have to be available more than you probably think you need to be.
yeah, I have friends who were thinking, oh, I'll go get into real estate. It's so easy. There's a perception that it's a very easy job. You go show a couple of houses, write a contract, you make a boatload of money. It's great. And she was asking me about details. And I said, I work 7 days a week. And sometimes I'm answering calls at 11 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
Shouldn't tell that because then my clients are going to call me at 11. Although I'd rather that.
You used to, not anymore. Not even, she doesn't
Exactly.
do that
Not
anymore.
anymore. Not doing that. My boundaries now. Now, I mean, but it's a lot of hours. Sometimes you have nothing going on with your clients, but you have a heck of a lot you need to be doing in the back end.
Yep.
And you're constantly trying to build your client base and your education. So it's a lot.
It is. It's never ending. Um, so thinking back to this earlier part of your career, I don't know if you remember your first transaction, but if you do, can you tell me about it? People usually have funny stories or something quirky they remember about their very first deal.
All right. Well, my very first deal was definitely a rental. So, and I don't remember it. I just know there was a rental.
Yep.
I think the majority of the work that I did my first year was rentals. And then somewhere around the 9-month mark, I was doing an open house for a rental. And a lot of people were coming through, and there was a woman sitting on the couch with me, and I was trying to connect with her and talk, and we were getting along really, really well. And no one else was really there. So I was like, well, this is great. At least I'm meeting somebody new and interesting. And
Yeah.
she was talking to me as a young couple came in, and I just gave the hi, can I help you with anything? And they were very standoffish. They were like, we're okay. We got it. They did not want to be bothered. They did not want any high pressure, which I wasn't going to give them, but they didn't want it. So they toured around, and then they came back down and asked a couple questions. I answered it. And then it was toward the end of the day, they left. And the same woman I've been chatting with, she left at the same time. I lock up, I go outside, and the people were standing outside with this woman chatting. And the woman who I'd gotten to know had apparently been singing my praises, McInerney's praises. And they turned to me and they said, all right, well, we weren't really in the market for a rental. We're looking to buy, and we want to work with you. This woman was just telling us how great you are and how great McInerney is. And
That's
it was
awesome.
so funny. Yeah. So you just kind of never know. And then I ended up listing their home and helping them buy something.
Oh
So
my
it was
gosh,
great.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
From the could have been even like a neighbor usually that just comes and chats and hangs out at the open house. And
Exactly.
being friendly, being nice, and just being yourself, and it just comes full circle.
Yeah, I wasn't trying to sell her anything. We were just chatting. And but yeah, it was fun that these people were so, don't bother me. I don't want the pressure. They just wanted to look. And yeah, it'll having somebody else in my praises was good.
That's awesome. Do you remember or can you think of the coolest house you've ever been in, whether it was something fancy or something kind of weird or,
Oh, wow. Well, you had me go to one fancy one. I love
oh
that one.
yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
that's
awesome.
probably the coolest house and the most expensive house I've ever been in.
Yeah, that was amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, how many pools were in that? Two giant pools, and that was probably the coolest house.
And the rooftop was
Um,
amazing too. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and I have a client this year who bought a house in McLean. It was a new build that was definitely on the coolest house I've ever been inside. It was just stunning. But yours is hands down the coolest house, the one
Oh,
that
that's
you took me
awesome.
to.
That's awesome. I'll take that. I wish it was actually my house, but
You know, we'll
the
claim it.
one
But
we had an event at and I invited you to. That's awesome.
exactly. And the car, what
The
car was that?
car, it was a Bugatti.
That was
That car
amazing.
was amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. And the everything about that house. I mean, I just still think about it, but to have that kind of money and the fire pits anyway. But I did have a weird one now that you say weird.
Okay. Yeah. Let's hear that one.
So yeah, the weird one, I have clients, we laugh about this to this day. I have two weird ones, but the one was we drive up and it's in the middle of the woods in Manassas, I think, and it was kind of run down and sketchy looking. Um, but all right, it just needed to have some, some window washing done. It was fine.
Cosmetic.
We go in the basement, and in the basement, nobody had told us. Apparently, I think it had been a dog grooming place or a boarding
Mm.
place, but we didn't know that. So we go in the basement and you see a metal wash tub, like an autopsy table kind of thing, where there was a drain at one end and it was metal. We go down and we're like, oh my God. Then you go around the corner and there's a room, a huge room with a table in the middle and a bare light above it. And then another room with basically nothing and a light. And we're like, oh my God, are people being interrogated in here, tortured in this house? And later on, we heard that I guess the owners had kept it as a dog grooming, but it was scary.
Yeah. To not know that when you're walking, I thought you were gonna say you saw cages and
Oh no, it was, I mean, there was everything but a cage. The fact that it had that metal wash bin with the drain and then everything else was bare light
the
bulbs.
spotlight.
It was creepy. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So tell me what outside of real estate, what do you do for fun?
Oh my gosh. Exercise. I still have my Pilates business and it is fun to me. So just about every day I teach a Zoom class, although I really need to get back to in person. But I'm able to teach and connect with people all over the country doing it that way. So exercise for sure. And then I love comedy. So if I'm driving, I'll listen to my little serious channel, or if I'm trying to decompress, I'll put on, some sort of like Comedy Central and, just, I don't know, we're going to see Bill Burr in a couple weeks and
That's awesome. Where do you do a lot of live stuff?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I love it. As a matter of
Yeah.
fact, I went out to LA to visit my son, my oldest, who's out there, and he was going to get us tickets. His company gets tickets to just about any comedy show, but we were going to do that. There just wasn't anybody that we were interested in, but
Yeah.
I love that. It's
Yeah.
awesome.
I love that too. That's awesome.
Yeah. Where do you go? Any place close by?
So there's for us in Arlington on Columbia Pike, there's the Cinnamon Draft House that has a
Yeah.
lot, they have a lot of comedians come through. So I
Yeah.
usually check their emails and see who's coming through there.
Yeah.
And then obviously they have the Improv downtown in DC.
Yeah.
But that's a little, it's not really that far, but it feels like further from us. And, since we're in Arlington, we usually just try to hop into the Cinema Draft House when they
Oh,
have people
well,
there.
all right. We'll have to connect later and see if you guys want to go
Yeah,
see.
absolutely. We'd love to.
Okay.
And then last but not least, this is absolutely the most important thing. Where can we find you? Where anybody that's watching this, where can they go to see more about you or to continue to learn more about you?
Thanks. I'm on Facebook, Sarah Pico Realtor, and I'm on Instagram again, Sarah Pico Realtor. Trying to make it as simple as possible. And my website is annoying because it's a .net, so it's sarahpico.net. And then
Okay.
somebody actually owns the .com. There's another Sarah Pico out there. How could that be?
She's probably going to have a high price for it.
Exactly. But I have Twitter, but I never do it. So I know
Yeah,
I need to.
I'm in the same boat there.
Yeah. But that's
Awesome.
that's it. So, and you can always find me on McInerney.
Awesome. Well, we will definitely spread that information out. Thanks
Okay.
again for joining us today, and it was great to hear more about you.
Thanks, Brandon.